Get in the picture. I am your host, Sharon Hooker, the Style and Body Confidence Coach and the creator and the founder of the Get in the Picture movement. And if you are ready to get into the picture of your life, physically and metaphorically, if you're ready to stop erasing your history, ready to stop playing the waiting game, and you're ready to show up and be seen with style and confidence, then you're in the right place. Let's go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Get in the Picture with Arlene Hayes. I was saying, I feel this is like the Tommy Tiernan show because we haven't actually met before, but a great friend of ours, Sonia, has actually linked the two of us up. And I believe that everybody's here for a reason, and we're drawn and we're connected to the people that we're meant to be connected with. So I reached out, and Arlene said she'd love to come on. So I'm so excited because I'm getting to hear this kind of unfold without knowing all, which is really exciting. So Arlene, welcome to the Getting Picture podcast, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Myself, okay, I'm 47. I live in Ennis, up the banner, and I am a mother of an 18-year-old son, Daniel. I work in retail all my life. I'm a beautician as well, but I never really went into that. I went more into retail. I was more interested in that. I'm a manager in Pamela Scott here in Ennis for the last 14 years. I'm the company's brand ambassador. Through my own confidence in myself, I got that role, and I love it. It's really good fun. I'm a happy-go-lucky person. Glass half full all the time with me, and generally, I love having the crack, and I love helping other people. I recently qualified as being a life coach as well, and that helped me on my own journey in life as well. So that's really kind of me.
Fabulous. Yeah, because obviously when it was suggested that we, that we link up, whatever, I followed you on Instagram, and I was like, oh my God, who is this? Literally, like, it was like a ray of sunshine on my phone. And I was just really drawn to your energy and drawn to just you being yourself is kind of really like, I know that word authentic is bandied around quite a lot. But I kind of got that sense that you're kind of comfortable in your own skin, and that, I suppose, the Getting the Picture is all about getting the picture as you are, and I kind of felt that you embodied, and some, that might not be the case, but that's the kind of impression, I suppose, that I got from you, that you kind of reached a place that you were comfortable and confident in, in yourself, and that kind of, but there's kind of a vulnerability in that as well, I think.
There is, and that's why I love the name of your podcast as well, because like I say all the time, I'm living my best life, and people be looking at me, what do you mean by living our best life? And I know, like, every day I get up, I'm happy. I'm exactly where I need to be in my life, and I show up for myself every single day with the same energy. But it took a long time to get here. But I'm here now, and I've such a peace over me. And because I have that peace, it's like nothing really actually bothers me. I feel like I'm totally bulletproof, and I can just go and be me. I can, sing and dance around the floor inside and work, and singing. I'm always singing. I love singing. I have to know it in my head. But I like, my life is like a musical. It's just great fun. Yeah. And look, we're all, I suppose, responsible for our own lives, and we might as well make them the best we can, and be that main character if that's the case,
And do you find, I suppose, because you are getting into the picture literally on your Instagram page and for Pamela Scott's, do you find that being yourself, do you find it easy? Or do you find that being yourself, there's a vulnerability about, because sometimes, and it's not that we'd even be dishonest, but sometimes, we'd hold back, or that we kind of don't want someone to see a side of us that, or you're open to criticism or anything. Do you feel that there's a vulnerability around being?
I suppose with me, with social media, I've had a really positive experience with it. Now maybe it's because my account is really small, or maybe it's because I'm so authentic, and I didn't realize that I'm warts and all. Like, I don't come on talking about negativity. Like, I don't come on and say this is after happening, but I do share snippets of my life with people when things have passed, because I find in a moment of something that's happening in your real life, like you can barely function as a human, let alone going on your phone. So when I
Yeah.
do come on social media, I just show up as myself. And although I've makeup on today, there's days that I don't have makeup on, my hair is stuck to my head, and big sleepy head and me, my jammies on, mix and match pajamas. I just am who I am, because imagine if you had to show up as someone else on there, it would be exhausting, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I would, and like that's what I love about it, because like some days I show up, some days I'm done up for going to things, or some days I'm out. Some days I laugh that I get done for this trades description act for calling myself a stylist. Just kind of, but I think that the more we do that, the more it gives other people permission to show up as themselves, because the more we see it, and the more, and people are drawn to that
I think
realness.
so too. Like, I mean, it took me an awful long time to understand. Like, I always, for years and years and years, I wouldn't go outside the door without makeup on. And my 20s, my 30s, I just wouldn't. I always was hiding behind my makeup, and my hair always had to be perfect. Everything had to be perfect all the time. But as you leave that guard down and, as you said, be a bit vulnerable, it's just more peaceful. It's
Mm,
more
mm, mm.
refreshing for people to see that, you know. And I used to see things about myself that weren't even there. I used to see these big black circles under my eyes for years. That's all I saw. But when I started doing the work on myself, which, people that have to do the work, it's hard to do it. But
Yeah,
then I started going, how did I see things like that? How did I see that I dark circles? Well, I really didn't,
yeah, yeah,
Whereas now I can wear makeup. I love makeup, but I love days when I have my makeup off as well.
yeah.
And the only people it seems to bother is my mother and father. You're very pale looking today, Arlene. I just don't have makeup on. That's all. you
And
know.
it's about, I suppose, yeah, what I would say is liberating. And that's the one thing for me as well, about this, I suppose, creation this, and it's a movement now, I suppose, really, in essence, is about that it's so liberating. Like some days you're one thing and some days you're something else. And it doesn't mean that you're a better person if you got your hair or makeup done. Like you're still the same person, but one day you can be this, and one day you can be that, and one day you can be, or it's the same with your body. Like you're not more valuable if you're smaller, or you're not less valuable if you're bigger. And we all have hang-ups. And that's the one thing I keep saying is we are more similar than we are different.
We are 100%, and a lot of people don't see that. Like at the end of the day, our body is only made up of cells and stuff. It's inside here that's most important. It's our soul. It's who we are. Our essence of our being is inside us. All this other stuff is only on surface stuff.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
just like to have a bit of fun, wear nice clothes, put on the makeup, do our hair. And they're all lovely. But it's what you give from here, I think, is what people that makes human connection so good. Then, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
I love that. And I suppose, Arlene, just about like body confidence, what has your body confidence journey been like, or where are you at on the scale of it, or
Um,
what?
body confidence. Are we ever happy? I'm women. Where I am in my journey, right, as I sit here today, I'm very happy in my body. I love my body. I love every element of my body, from my arms to my shoulders to my boobs, everything. Like, would I like me a bit smaller sometimes? I'd say yes, to fit into more clothes, have more variety. Get into a pair of jeans, a different style of jeans that I haven't been in before. But
Mhm.
they're only all, as I said, surface things. But my body itself has been through the war and back, in its life, so I don't judge it anymore, because it has been smaller. Like
Mhm.
my body was always smaller. I was always like, if you could, like I'm 6 foot nearly, so I would have
Yeah,
been like a size 12. I think I thought I was a 14, but I was always about a 12. I was really
yeah,
slim, really tall all my life, up and down a few pounds here and
yeah.
there, you know. But then life happens, and life happened to me that made weight go on me. And I
Okay.
think it was the best thing that ever really happened, because now I love where I'm at in my body,
Mhm. Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know, which is kind of, it's hard to get there. But I think when life throws you lemons, you either make that lemonade,
Yeah.
or let it sting. And for me, I like my journey, if you've time to listen to me.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. No, absolutely. We're here. Yeah. Please, if you
My
feel
journey
comfortable
started just
sharing it.
before my 40th birthday, and people do say life begins at 40, and we do mature an awful lot in our 40s. But for me, it happened in a different way. that I started remembering something that happened to me when I was a child, which I was abused by someone very dear to me. And I didn't remember it until it came back in a memory when I was 39. So I had to, without going into all the details, because we'll keep this uplifting, but to, to I had to start my journey of finding who I was again from that day that happened, and for the person to admit his wrongdoing. I had to start figuring my life out. And at the time, it all happened in stages. So looking back, it's easy to see them, but while it was happening over the last 7 years, it wasn't as easy to see forward. So I went from discovering that I had an eating disorder, probably since my late 20s. I had bulimia, but I thought that was perfectly normal. I thought that's what people did. I thought people were sick when they overate.
Yeah.
And you heard people talk about it on social media all the time, binging. I'm like, gosh, I binge all the time. Sure, it must be normal. Yeah. So I always felt it was normal. If you overeat, then you get sick. So I never thought really anything of it. But I had discovered that through an awful lot of counselling, an awful lot of tears, an awful lot of anger had come through me. And just to rediscover myself, because I started seeing patterns that I could look back on in my 20s and my 30s. And then now I'm in my 40s going, okay, well, they actually were never mine. They were because of that younger Arlene, what had happened to her. That's how she behaved. Whereas now, that's not really where I want to be. And I knew I was always a bit conflicted. I always knew there was something, but I never knew what it was until that happened to me. But it took time. It took time. And then I suppose the doctors really didn't kind of kick in. I kept telling them there was a problem with my food, but everyone around me just kept, have you been to counselling? Have you been to counselling? You need to keep talking. But I kept saying there was a problem with my food, but nobody was hearing what I was saying. So I just kept doing what I was doing. But eventually, I started to heal myself, because I said, if nobody's listening, I have to listen to myself.
Yeah.
My body was crying out. I had a hiatus hernia. My gums were sore. I just wasn't well. I was very grey looking. Now, I was healing from trauma as well. So it was coming out through me.
Yes.
So I started a couple, maybe 2 years ago, maybe 3, of letting go, just after COVID, I'd say, of just letting go of that perfect body, having to be this way, having to show up as well. Like, I mean, them clothes always fitted me. Why is my body so different? And I let go of it. And I let go of it. I healed. I put on about maybe 3 stone, maybe 3.5.
Yeah.
But then that's where my body confidence journey started, because it didn't bother me, because I knew why I was putting on the weight. I knew through my counselling, like, people on the outside mightn't have seen it. They're like, because people do judge people, why this or why that. Whereas for me, I was healing, and I was healing really well. I put myself first, and I think that's where all the change started for me then, and here I am today in my clothes, loving life, and I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Has it been easy? It hasn't. It has been horrendous. It really has been hard, because you're going into, like, you're literally into your whole body and soul, and I had to figure out my life path of where I was always meant to go on, as opposed to my path definitely was veered off because of my past. So now I'm on that path, and I'm like, this is great. Like, as I said, I'm bulletproof. I feel good. Went on that life coaching journey, and as you know, it brings you on a journey. And it was the best journey. You just start to accept, and it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter about our hair or the makeup. As I said, they really don't matter. What matters is inside, how your heart is connecting with your brain, all of that stuff, and that leads me then to, trying on clothes all the time. Like, how has that happened that I'm trying on clothes for Pamela Scott in the body that people would assume wouldn't be on social media, being a brand ambassador? You would associate it with smaller bodies, and I'm happy out. I look at my body and I still think I'm size 10 or 12. Like, it's kind of gas, because I just see myself as Arlene.
Yeah. Oh my God. Wow. First of all, you are amazing. Let me say that. That's a lot, like, to, you know what I mean, for you to go through, and I'm sorry that you did have to go through that. But even in the moment that you had, I suppose, as you said, there was always this thing that that you probably subconsciously knew there was something, and then it was as horrific as it was to have the pieces. It probably, again, you probably couldn't heal without the awareness as well, if you know what I mean. Not that,
Yeah,
again.
you couldn't. I only said it yesterday to actually somebody. I am so glad that I remembered. I'm so glad. I think I would have been going around in circles all the time, holding a bottle of Pinot Grigio, drinking it away.
Yeah, yeah.
Totally self-destructing in my life. And although to everybody prior to that would have thought I was actually totally functioning, but I really wasn't.
Yeah.
And nobody knows other than ourselves, like deep down inside our own hearts, we know what's going on, you know, and I knew what I was capable of hurting myself. And, you know, so I'm so glad that that happened, because now it gives me the freedom to just live my life and the way that I want to. You know, I've more control over it now, which is great. And now I realised why I was single all those years. It's kind of funny. I can joke about it now.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm kind of glad though.
You know, it was probably the missing piece. You mean is in you didn't know, and you probably felt maybe broken, and you were trying to maybe fix yourself, but you didn't know what you were fixing. You know what I mean? It's like you can't fix something that you don't know. It's like
it's really sad. Like, and you don't, you see, like I destructed every relationship I was ever in. Even like I always was the one that really kind of finished it, broke up, like destroyed it really. And I never knew why. I always thought it was I always thought it was the men I was dating were the problem. And ironically now I can put my hand up and go, well, actually I'm really sorry, it was me. But I didn't know. You know,
didn't know, and you were trying. That was a protection mechanism at the time that you were trying to keep yourself safe.
But I'm kind of glad, because I could have got into a lot of relationships that weren't for me.
Yes.
Like, and I'm kind of glad somewhere in my subconscious, I probably knew they still weren't for me, because you know, the way it was for you won't pass you. I am still single, but it's lovely that I am, because I'm happy in my skin now today. And I'm as you said there about awareness, I'm more aware of myself now. I know what I want now. Whereas before I was nearly just kind of, you know, kind of pleasing others, you know, that type of way.
Yeah. And like your story, sharing your story is doing probably so much, like much more good than you'll ever. You'll never probably truly understand the impact, because you won't hear it, but like the impact that you're sharing your story will have on other people too.
So because I had and when it all came out initially, I did speak about it to raise money. I was trying to raise money for the Midwest Rape Crisis Centre, and I raised a lot. I raised over 10,000 at the time.
Oh, wow.
And that was before I started healing, because I didn't think there was anything wrong with me. It's kind of funny. I was on a high. I was just on a fight and flight mode.
Yeah.
But I remember I did an article in our local paper, and I was in Dunn Stores here in Ennis one day, and this woman, she must have been in her 80s, was at her trolley. And she stopped up beside me and she came over and she hugged me. I never met her in my life. And she said, thank you so much, she said, for sharing your story. She said, I wish I was able to.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
And that was only one person out of a lot of people. So I know that I've helped, and I keep like I don't talk about it all the time now, you know, but I think my actions are showing people more than having to talk about it. You know, it's like my behaviors are showing, look at that girl there now. Look at her after she went through, and there she is, happy out, living her best life.
And that's like, and I didn't know any of that. And like when I just saw, I saw you, but for me now knowing that, what I kind of, my biggest thing is the hope, because usually maybe when you're going through it, you kind of, will you ever smile again? Will you ever be normal again? Will you ever care about putting on a dress again? Will you ever care about, you know, all of these things? And it gives people hope that there is life after, you know, trauma.
There is, of course, and trauma can come in any form. Like mine just happened to be in abuse form, but it can come in grief, it can come in breakup of relationships. And unfortunately, and although the part I found really hard was, I felt like, why do I have to heal? I didn't cause this.
Yes.
So that element took a while for me to understand, and I realized that if I didn't, it was still me that was hurting. So I had to let go of it all and just go, Arlene, just, you know, mind yourself, because you are the number one person. It doesn't matter who did this, who did that, who said this, who didn't say that. that all that really doesn't matter. What matters is in here when you go to bed at night and how you are, because we know our thoughts half the time aren't even true.
Completely, yes, yes.
They're really, really not. Whereas now, I can go to bed at night and there's really nothing on my mind other than, I wonder what I'll wear to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
I wonder, is there any new stock coming in that I can try on? Like that's being honest now. Like small, I have the worries of normal stuff, finances, all that normal stuff. That's very normal.
Yeah.
But like there's never anything really up there in my mind that's getting between me and my night's sleep.
I love that. I love that for you. Yeah, because that's like literally no matter what in the women that I work with, and even yourself, like peace of mind. That's I think what everyone's trying to achieve, isn't it? Ultimately, when you strip everything back, like we're all doing the things for the feeling, and the feeling normally is that peace of mind, that contentment. And it's, as you say, when you go to bed at night, that there, the monkey mind isn't, it's just that lovely peacefulness. And just in relation to this style element, which because I was like, oh my god, it was like the perfect marriage between the life coaching and the styling and all the rest of it, and our mutual friend. So the style part of it. So do you feel that kind of style has, and again, we're not saying that you stylish all the time, are you? But do you feel that it helps you show up and get into the picture? Do you feel more confident? Do you feel?
Oh, I love it. And I always only dress for myself, and that's one thing I've been all my life. I've never just dressed for anybody. I love getting dressed to feel sexy. I love getting dressed to feel comfy. And whatever way I want to feel, that's how I dress. And it's always been. It's one thing I can hold on to that has always been for me. I don't mind throwing on the leggings and a hoodie. Like if that's what I need, that's what I do. But if I want to get dressed up, I love that feeling. There's nothing better than it, really, is there?
Yeah. And
if something fits really. Sorry.
No, I was just kind of it's like it's not that you have to be dressed up all the time, or like, again, but it's just the fact that I find it's a great tool for me when you're like, I put myself out, and especially when you're putting yourself out there, or you're doing something outside your comfort zone, and you might need that something, the imposter syndrome is coming in, or you're like, who are you to be doing this, or who are you to be? And I just think it gives you that. It's like armor. Do you know what I mean? It kind of gives you that, and we use all the tools. Like it's not like a new top won't erase trauma. But again, if you're going into something and you do the work, so that's why for me, I suppose, it's style, body confidence, and mindset. It's the three of them together, because I do think, look, I'd say a new top or a new dress. It's not going to fix. It's not like a plaster on a broken leg if you haven't seen. But at the same time, it's so powerful to put it on something, and you're just kind of going, yeah, I've got this. Yes, I've got this.
And it's that feeling. And I say that to customers all the time. Like, they'll be asking me, what do I think? And I goes, well, it's easy what I think. I'm only looking at you. And I can tell you everything you want to hear. But I said, how do you feel? Look in the mirror and tell me how you feel. Because I said, it's nothing got to do with me. I said, it's got to do with you. And I love that for customers. I love it for myself then as well. We can all help each other. But it's that feeling that I always go for. That feeling
I'm getting goosebumps now, because actually my tagline is style, it's a feeling.
Oh, stop.
Yeah. And
we're so alike.
It's so alike, literally. I know this is like literally match made in heaven. And I think we're even colour coordinating today. For people watching it, we're actually colour coordinating. And you were talking about, I suppose, one of the things, I was a stylist for many years, and then I went to work in a boutique, very similar story to yourself. And that's where I really honed my skills in dressing people and dressing different body shapes. But the one thing I suppose I found was that I was able to, say this will suit you, this will suit you for whatever, and they went and they came out, but nothing had changed. They didn't feel any different. You know what I mean? They didn't feel any different. They didn't feel so. Like it was just the inner chatter. So what do you find, or what do you how do you what things do you notice about women in changing rooms, or what they say to themselves, or
like it's really sad in our fitting rooms. It's really sad. I just sparkle fairy dust in there some days just to lift the spirit inside there. And what I've noticed is it doesn't matter whether you're size 10 or size 20. The person size 10 is still saying the same thing as a size 20.
Yes.
So the dialogue is the exact same. That a lot of women are critical of themselves, their bodies, their stomachs, their legs, their thighs, their arms, all the time. They think they're not good enough to wear a dress, or they don't think that's not their style. They should be I only always wear jeans, or they only wear clothes to cover their body.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's kind of not every customer obviously is like that, but a lot of
Yeah.
customers are like
Yeah.
that. And I'm in them fitting rooms a very long time. And so now I think when I just connect with the human, and I try to get the girls to do the same, just connect with them, you know, try to see what their needs are, try to give them different clothes. Like I wouldn't have as much experience as yourself would when it comes to styling, but I definitely have the knowledge of what fit would suit a body shape,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I might know my chart of shapes, but I have a good eye for it. You know, and it's trying to get them, you know, to get out of their heads nobody. See, I can appreciate that it comes from people saying, "Oh, I don't like my arms,"
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Well, tell me what you don't like about your arms. Show me." And I'll go and I'd show them my arm, and we'd be looking at arms. And I said, "All right, and what's so bad about them?" And I'd be like going, and they're like, "Well, I mean, they're so wobbly and wobbly jelly." And I goes, "But like, I mean," I said, "Aren't they the same arms that you hug your grandchildren with? Those lovely arms that you have?" I said, "Why would you talk to them like that?" I said, "They're full of love, they're full of you." And they're kind of looking at me and they kind of just kind of go, "Feck her anyway, I know she's right," like, but you know, at the same time. So I try to kind of come to a compromise with them sometimes, you know, and they just start thinking. And I think once you get them thinking, I just love that. And they always come back into me again. Do you know
Oh
what
my
I
God,
mean?
I'm like, literally, I want to go shop. I'm going to be literally driving to Ennis to go to the changing room with you. Oh my God, it sounds like such a beautiful experience, because I think a lot of women have such bad experiences in changing rooms. And it, like, you know, I'm not saying, but in general, the lighting, and you've got, you know, you're not looking your best. You've got the, you know, the sock marks around your around your feet. You've got, you know, you mightn't have the right underwear,
The
and
right underwear on it, yeah, and you're
you feel
hot, you know,
self-conscious, and especially, you know, asking for maybe bigger sizes, or you know, it's a people feel quite vulnerable in there anyway, without, you know what I mean. And then it's just, but I just think you just describing that's just sounds the most beautiful. It's like a mixture of styling and counselling, style
Yeah,
counsellor.
and that's what I do. And I tried staying there all day. I've often thought if I was ever going to be a manager, people go to me, Arlene, what would you want to do? I'd stay in there on a high stool all day next to the fitting room, helping the women inside there. That's all I'd want to do. All day long, happy out, just kind of, you know, building up their confidence, you know, and I suppose that's what I'm good at. I'm good at it because it comes naturally to me. You know, as I said earlier, like I've always loved my body, regardless of what size it's been. That's, you know, it's always been a quality I've had, you know. I might be mean to it over the years, but I still loved it, you know, that type way.
And
but
how
as well,
did you,
I think,
is there anything that you did, is there anything like, well, how, because we're, in general, like when I, no matter what, as you said, no matter what shape or size they are, there's this, they don't love their bodies. I would even go to far as to some people like literally hate their bodies and punish it, and are mean to their bodies. How, is there something that you like, how is it innately in you, or was it something you practiced, or was it something that you love your body?
I just think, I've always been the same. I always think, even I remember years ago, my father had a heart attack, and thankfully he's flying it, but he had a quadruple bypass. And I remember he stopped smoking at the time. But I always think about, like, I remember thinking at that moment, Dad used to smoke. And then I think about smoking and the going around the tubes inside your heart. And then I kind of going, why would we do that to our body? And that, no judgment on anyone that smokes or drinks or does anything. But that's the way my mind has always thought. And I thought the same, like I had an emergency section. Like my body was cut to get my son out. So, and although I have a swollen belly and it's there and I've put the weight on, it's more obvious than not. Like at the end of the day, like our bodies have been through enough trauma. Like that, I just say to the women, would you just stop? Would you say that to your friends? You'd never go, that's disgusting. About somebody else. Why are you saying it to yourselves? So I do call a lot of people out and what they say. And I say it back to them in a kind way, with kindness.
You with love.
With kindness, with love. So, and I suppose I practice what I preach from myself. And it has to come from inside somebody. So you can bring the duck to water, but you can't say, go off there and swim. Exactly, you could only, from the likes of myself, yourself, that can share the word, you know, give as much experience as we can, you know, and that maybe that word someday might reach to someone and they could relate to it, and then they start looking at things maybe a bit differently.
No, it is, and I do think, honestly, I was reading something the other day that we spend 90 minutes a day negatively talking about our bodies, or thinking about it, or what we're going to eat, or what we're not going to eat, or because we've ate we must, you know, all these kind of things. And I'm kind of going, oh my God, genuinely, what a waste of resources and
Isn't
what a
it?
waste of like. And I'm talking to myself here
Yeah.
as well. I'm not, talking at people, but like seriously, think about that. We say we don't have enough time to go for a walk, or we don't have enough time to make healthy food, or we don't have enough time. And this is me I'm talking about as well.
Yeah.
And then to have that 90 minutes a day, like just to think you'd take over the world, you'd rule the world.
Take over the world, you
You'd be
would.
in the Ars and Uptron.
It's just mad, and it's a lot of it is a waste of time. Now, look, I noticed this morning on my phone, I'm off today, and I was there scrolling away, and next thing my phone said, your time limit for Instagram is up, which is an hour. It was up. I was on my phone for an hour without me even realising it.
Yeah.
Now, it was quite funny stuff I was watching, but still I was like, oh, what a waste of my time.
I
Do you know, I could have been putting a bit of 10 on.
I know.
But we all are the same. So no matter what, I have a great routine in my life, but I've worked hard in it the last year through the coaching I was doing, becoming the qualified coach. But I've learned I've got a great routine that's really working for me. I'm able to slot things in and out now much easier, that I'm not under as much pressure anymore, because time is there, but it's just using it right, isn't it?
Yeah. I know that's when you say, sometimes when I say, oh, I don't have enough time to do whatever, kind of, the United, the US president, you know what I mean? He, whatever, or was it, what's his name, Virgin Airline, what's his name, Richard Branson.
Yes,
He has the same amount of time as, we all have the same 24 hours. It's what we choose to do with them, but it's not to beat ourselves up at the same time.
Not at all.
We are making choices too.
And you have to have a bit of downtime too. You can't be always go.
No, and that's very important as well.
Yeah.
And I just already talking about getting in the picture. Is there any photographs that you can think of, a photograph that you have that's treasured, that you love, that there's a photograph, is it of yourself or somebody that you really think is a treasured photograph of yours?
I look back through my Instagram, not Instagram photographs, on my phone gallery a lot. And the ones that I see that I'm in the picture of my life are the ones that I'm at the beach and my hands are up in the air, I'm wearing my swimsuit, and I can see it in me. I am so happy. Yeah. And I don't give two continentals of what size I am inside in the swimsuit. I don't care what anyone thinks. And I even get goosebumps thinking about it now. Even throughout my healing, I've always gone to the sea for swimming, and I get that real inner child comes up in me. And I love it. And I'm literally smiling. I often get lockjaw because I'm smiling so wide because I'm so happy. And that for me is like going, there she is, look at her, she's living her best life. And I just love it. Yeah, I do. I love those moments. And I was only saying this morning, I'd love to pull the beach closer to my house so I could do it every day.
It's funny because I've developed different archetypes, and that kind of one sounds like, kind of I've candid Clara, and that's kind of about just taking those kind of candid moments, those kind of not posed, they're just the real kind of shots of you living your life, and so that you're just my candid Clara.
Just those real little kind of like non-waxed legs. Who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. Who cares? Nobody's even watching. Do you know?
Honestly, like I was saying to my son before, when he was younger, or whatever, when he was something happening, and actually he's like 21 or whatever, but it was kind of about like, in your life, you're the big matchstick person, and in, the other person, they're like that. But it's the opposite. In their life, they're the big matchstick person and you're the little one. And it's like, if we all just realize that people don't care as much as we think, or
as we actually think they do.
Because even in a photograph, when you ever go up with a group of friends, everyone zooms into themselves.
Yeah.
And everyone's just worried about themselves. And if you said something about, oh, my arms, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? And it's the same, like people have their own worries. They have their own, how they're going to pay this, or sick parents or whatever. People don't actually care. So if you could all just kind of strip back and just,
because everyone's worried about themselves. Like, everyone's looking at their own arms going, oh, my arm shouldn't be in this dress. So like, why should we just leave your arm out? Just let it out. Because
we all let them out together.
Let them all out, it'll be fine.
I did a reel, and I'm not very really, but I did a reel the other day about your arms, and I was, kind of, getting hot, and I was taking off my jacket or whatever. But it was so funny because it's like they're just arms. They're just arms.
That's all they are. I don't talk to me about getting hot. I got hot yesterday. inside and work. We were doing a reel as well for the All-Ireland final on Sunday. And mother of God, I was there with all the young ones, like in our clear jerseys, and the heat that came through me, I'll never forget it. Yeah, I was there going, oh my God, it's a man's world.
I know, but like I say, a lot of my women are perimenopausal, and here we are, like then literally shoved into things to stop our arms. And you're kind of going, no, set them free, set them free.
And I was wearing the jeans. I was like, oh, get them off me. And today I'm in a dress and I'm lovely and cool today. And I'm like,
So, Arlene, do you have any kind of tips or anything that you to the listeners to help them if they are reluctant to, and like when I'm talking about getting into the picture, I'm talking about physically getting into the picture, but also metaphorically, because if you're not getting into the picture physically, from my experience, I wasn't getting into the picture metaphorically in my life either. So have you any tips or anything that you find have worked for you, or just for people that are reluctant or hesitant to get into the picture?
I just think for me, there's all different chapters in our lives as well, because we go from being daughters to mothers. Like I'm a manager, I'm a sister. So we have to show up as all different roles. But I think if you just show up as yourself in each role, I think that's the most important thing, most valuable thing I've learned. Just be yourself. And if you think that anyone around you could support you on anything, like just say, for example, if you're not great at styling yourself, or you don't understand how to shop for yourself, maybe you've lost that confidence in yourself, then to go and ask. There's always people there that only want to do it. And I see it with customers, and they think that they can't ask us. And I'm like, that's why we're here. Just to ask someone, or if you something that's on your mind, to say it maybe to a friend, because a friend is probably going through the same hot flushes that you are, because they're all perfectly normal, and to try and just reach out, and just realize that we're all the same, on the same journey. And if we could all just help each other along the way, I think it makes it all that much easier, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Like, and I don't know if it's a female thing. And again, I don't ever like generalizing, but I do, because I am a female, so I can only speak from that perspective. But I think there's a little bit of the little red hen in women. It's kind of like I do it my own. Even I can remember my daughter, one of her very first words were like, "I do it my own self. I do it my own self."
I love that.
And I think there is a little bit of that red hen that we have to keep all the balls, we have to keep everything juggling, we have to keep everything, and it's asking for help. And people, that's something that I suppose I kind of, in my own business, I was kind of like, oh, I do everything. But it's like people love to be asked for help too.
Of course they do. I mean, if I didn't ask for help, in my journey, if I didn't speak up, I don't think me and you would be talking here today. That is a fact. And like I reached out to anyone that would help. And when I was a very independent girl, I left home when I was 19. I've solely lived on my own all my life, independent, raised my son on my own. I'm a single parent. So I've always done everything on my own. But if I had to do my healing on my own, it would have been very, very sad. It would have been detrimental to me, and it would have been very lonely. And here I am now today, because I asked for the support from the experts, my friends, my family, and I let my guard down. I can't do everything, and I'm living proof today that you can just be happy, and you can find your happiness and your peace, again, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad for me that I was able to say, do you know what, I can't do this on my own. And now, as I said, even with my work, I'm brand ambassador for Pamela Scott. Like, how has that even happened? I just think that's crazy. Here I am dancing around the place in my dresses, living my best life. But I would never have foreseen that for myself.
And I love that for you, but I also love it for Pamela Scott. You mean the foresight for Pamela Scott, not to think outside of. And I was like, at the same time, then you're kind of going, oh, people shouldn't be applauded for, kind of showing, other bodies as well. But that's just the way that's just the box was. Like, that's what they're opening and they're expanding.
They need to do that. And because all women come into me all the time and thank me. Thanks so much, Arlene, for doing those videos. And you're just the exact same as me. And I'm like, I know, the exact same. We might, we can still show up as ourselves when, if we want, it doesn't matter, because they're just a body. We're just dressed in our body. So I'm just glad I'm here today to tell the story.
Well, on that note, I'm glad that you were here to tell the story too. So thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. And yeah, really, I suppose just very last thing, I just want to ask you, what does get in the picture mean to you? Like, what is it that what is your take? What do you think it means to you? What
Getting in the picture for me is to show up as myself, for myself every day, and so I can live my best life. That's all. Getting up, being true to myself, and and being true to those around you, because we can't fill a glass half empty. You just have to show up, be happy, whatever happiness is for yourself, and just live your best life and go and get it. Stop putting off what we can do today. It's leaving it on the long finger. Something I want to do, I'm doing it. Like, I'm here on the podcast with yourself, and it's something I've wanted to do, is talk about my past, because I knew it was going to help. But if I wasn't to listen to myself and not put myself forward, I'd be just kind of going doop-a-doop-a-doo,
Yeah. And where can people find you? Because they need you in their Instagram lives for a bit of.
My Instagram is Arlene's Day, and just on Instagram, that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where you'll always find me, or I'm Pamela Scott in Ennis.
Yeah, well, definitely there should be a queue into Pamela Scott in Ennis for that, I'd say, for that style counselling session. And I'd say Arlene will brighten up your Instagram feed. Anyway, and that's something as well, populate your feed. It's your feed. You don't have to have your feed populated. Like, you can unfollow somebody, and like, that is something with, say, I don't have a huge account either, but when someone does unfollow me, I never ever get sad about it, because there's something, it's that they're not the right fit, or I could trigger something, or just whatever. That's fine. It's not, it's just, so it's you get to decide what you want your feed populated by.
Oh,
so
100%. You have to be careful what you're ingesting, like, more than food and more than social media. We need to be mindful of that. I love the mute button. I mute a lot of people, and they could be my closest friends, and I might mute them, and then I'll unmute them when I'm ready, because obviously they've triggered something in me.
Completely.
It isn't actually them, it's just me.
No, it's completely, that's what something I've realized as well. It's not them, it's me. And like, you might follow them again, or you might muting. I hadn't actually thought of that now, so that's actually great.
It is.
Just don't mute me, Arlene. Just don't mute me.
I won't mute you. I'll be all over it now.
Thank you genuinely, thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing your story.
Thanks for having me.
Anybody that is listening, I hope that you get the sense of hope. And I think you are a picture of that hope. So thank you so much. Thank you.
No, thank you, Sharon. I'm delighted to be part of your Get in the Picture. It's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to Get in the Picture with Sharon Hubbard. I would love if you could rate and review the show, and please share with all the amazing women in your life who could do with getting into the picture of their life, knowing that they are enough as they are, perfectly imperfect. For more information on the Get in the Picture movement, make sure you're following me on Facebook, Sharon Hubbard, and Instagram, Sharon Hubbard_. Tune in next week. Chat soon. Bye.